As a finance professional in a disrupted business landscape, what does it take to be in demand? What does it take to attract great paying international roles? If you're an ICAN member, it'll just take one exam. That's all it takes to complete the globally recognized SEMA professional qualification and the internationally respected CGMA designation. As a SEMA member and a CGMA designation holder, employers will look at you as a finance professional, constantly acquiring new skills to add value to the business. That's why they'll be willing to pay premium to hire and retain you. If you have 5 years of relevant experience and are an ICAN member, you can directly sit for the final exam of the SEMA Professional Qualification, the Strategic Case Study exam. Start studying the SEMA Professional Qualification. Prepare to make an impact.
Good evening, my professional colleagues, friends of our chartered accountants, students, ladies and gentlemen. It is my pleasure once again to welcome you to another edition of ICAN on Air. This day, Tuesday, the 30th day of the month of August in the year 2022. This happens to be the last episode for the month of August, the special month. And we have come with a topic that we consider that we need to know more about for this episode that we are having today. And the topic of discussion today will be leading in a VUCA environment. I'm sure some of us will be asking, we've discussed VUCA, but we need to have understanding of leading in a VUCA environment. And also, I know those that are joining us for the first time will just be having the understanding or trying to know what is VUCA. What is VUCA? And I have with me to discuss this issue today, Mr. Kayode Adebi, FCA, an holder of MBA from the University of Lagos, and is both a fellow of ICAN and CITN. His work experience is round, spanning from manufacturing industry to academics, management consulting, and rose to the post of executive consultant before joining NNPC in 1991 as senior accountant. In NNPC, he worked in various SBU, IDSL, CHQ, NAPIMS, and NPDC, where he acquired cognitive experience in oil and gas accounting, tax, managing joint ventures, production sharing contract, and service contract. He is vast in oil and gas accounting and taxation in the Nigerian oil and gas industry. He rose to the position of executive director, shared service in the petroleum product marketing company, a subsidiary of NNPC, before retiring in 2020 to start his financial and management consulting practice. He has authored 3 books, the most notable of which is Petroleum Accounting and Taxation in Nigeria, which he co-authored with our revered past president, Dr. R.U. Uche, which is still of high relevance today. He is a notable conference speaker and also a paper presenter. Currently, the managing director of Unirock Multi-Consult Limited, a financial and managing consulting firm based in Lagos and Abuja. Like I said, VUCA. Everything is transforming, as changing, and we want to bring to you again another perspective And for those of you that might be hearing this for the first time, pick your pen and your paper. Be ready for another insightful and educative session as we come back with our guest. Please stay tuned. I'll be right back. Let me go for short commercials.
Save the date. Make it in October to remember as you register and plan to attend the 52nd ICAN Annual Accountants Conference. Date 10th to 14th October 2022. Venue ICC Abuja and Sheraton Abuja. For more inquiries, call 070-501-80222 or 090-625-47263. You can also visit the ICAN website www.icanig.org to register. Thank you.
Thank you very much and welcome back. My pleasure to have with me Mr. Kayode Adebi. Good evening. You are welcome to ICAN on Air, sir.
Good evening very much, sir. I appreciate you. Can I start off?
Thank you very much. You are welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure to be talking to you on the leading in VUCA environment. Let me start on this note. Many people are wondering what is meant by VUCA. Can you please educate our teaming viewers globally connected to this program what the full meaning of VUCA is all about and what does it stand for?
Thank you very much, Mr. Kwade, my chairman. I'm pleased to be here to talk about this. I remember that June 30 we had something on VUCA, and that was called professional space. This is on the ultimate of living in the VUCA environment. VUCA, as was said, is VUCA, not Buga. It's volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous environment, which ultimately is nicknamed into a disruption of the status quo that can derail the organization. Those are actually the full meaning of the acronym in VUCA.
Brilliant submission by our guest. And you just said it. This VUCA has come in disruption of the activity of an organization. In real terms, can you give us real practical examples of VUCA?
Okay, really, if you look at what VUCA really stands for, VUCA originated from the military in the US, and it's actually a war term per se. Why? There are circumstances that overtake an organization without their consent. Trouble is looking for you, not looking for the trouble. They catch people by suspense. They come violently to disrupt what you are doing. For instance, when you talk about VUCA, you're talking about take Nigeria now. How many changes of policies and prices have we had between the first 6 months of this year? It's alarming. Things are changing so fast. That's what the supplier bought last year, about last month. He needs extra money to buy it this month. Circumstances are changing everything. And it's become so difficult to cope because assumptions are falsely undergird. When you talk about the fact that the uncertainty is actually known with the character of the future. But in this case, you talk about when all assumptions seems not to be in place again, then you really don't know what is tomorrow. Planning becomes useless when you know that parameters in which you are planning, and that's actually what we have now in Nigeria, that It's so difficult to plan because whatever you planned yesterday doesn't work today. I give you an example. We had to buy something in my office, and we still had some stock of it. So I went to a particular place, and they told me that we could buy for 32,000. And we still had, so I didn't buy. But when we ran out of it, I went to the same location, and they were asking me to pay 40,000 without any reduction. That's just about a week to the time. So how do you plan in such circumstances? Then it's complex because there are so many factors you have to factor in to take decisions. Our case is complicated by the insecurity situation. Nigeria is bedeviled now with a lot of brain drain, which is called JAPA. You find out an employee. One of my friends has a company who has a particular department has 31 people. And now, as I was talking to me the other day, only 4 are left that have not traveled. A bank promoted 450 software engineers ahead of their time. But within 2 weeks, 150 of them resigned. So it becomes so difficult to plan in such environment. Ambiguous is actually a more difficult one because in ambiguity, you never really know what the answer is, and you can't be sure what the question is. So the question is, is neither an insect, nor an animal, nor a bird. So it's very difficult to actually even know when you have reached what it is. That is an exposition of those things. And I think Nigeria has a lot of it now that we're battling with. We hope that we'll be out of it, but we don't see the horizon in a very short time. Thank you.
Very wonderful submission, Mr. Adebiyi, by breaking down VUCA the way it's supposed to be, the volatility of it, the uncertainty, where planning becomes useless. You cannot even envisage what tomorrow will be. When you talk about the complexity of what we're talking about, and you went ahead to talk about being ambiguous. That is a situation where you don't even have an idea of the question or what the answer to provide to some of these things. A very simplified way of talking VUCA based on what we hear. But from what you've said, sir, VUCA seems to be about leadership. So why is leadership so important in VUCA world?
Yeah. If you look at, there's actually a difference between management and leadership, which people don't seem to understand. Management is about stability. Leadership is about changes. What you need a manager for is to manage, to sustain an institution within the parameters that have been set for it. If we want to grow an organization and the parameters are changing, you need leadership. So you need more leadership in a VUCA environment than in a management environment. How many of us has driven before in a rain where the road is floody, the rain is floody, the headlights are not good enough? You need more than a driver license to drive in such places. You probably need skilled expertise to get yourself out of the woods. Otherwise, you find yourself and the car and yourself drowned in the water.
That's a very simplified way to talk about it. Having extra skill, not just managerial skill and all, but leadership quality. And it will take me to this question. But before I go, let me say to our audience that is connected globally that there is room for you to bring in your question. Our guest today, Mr. Adebiyi, is fully prepared. Both your contribution, your questions, your observation so that we can do justice to this. And I'm pleased to notify our guests that we are connected both in Nigeria, all parts of the country, globally, from the US, from the diaspora, and you can see from on screen, even from Makodi, where Binde is connecting. Let me go straight to this question, Mr. Debi, and let me ask, what is VUCA leadership?
VUCA leadership is there are two parts of VUCA leadership. There is the original one I have explained. Then there is the VUCA Prime. VUCA Prime is an answer to the challenges of VUCA. It is made in such a way that an antidote is provided for each of the letters that we have in that place, except for the first one. For instance, you have volatility as VUCA. What is volatility? Volatility comes when the situation is understandable, more predictable. The speed and volume of activities are totally unpredictable and not within the context of control. But how do you handle such? There is that you need to have a vision. Is a vision a properly defined vision that is an answer to volatility? You have a vision. The vision is identify your purpose, to corroborate alignment of attention. The vision must actually collaborate with attention control. And what is a vision? A vision is a picture of the future. And it means that the leader must constantly have a picture of what he wants to achieve. And by having that picture in his heart, in his mind, he actually tries to monitor the environments and circumstances that are coming up to see whether those things, whether anything is able to derail those ones. Now, the second one on it is U, which is uncertainty. For that one, you need understanding. Understanding is what you need when you have uncertainty. And what is understanding? There are three levels of knowledge. The first level of knowledge is actually knowledge itself, which is just information gathering. Now, it is actually here that that one starts from, that a leader must have more information than every other person in the organization. A leader, the IT guy may have information about this, the director of IT may have about this, but the real leader must have information about even the macro, the micro environment, what is the competition environment is doing. He has information about what is happening all over the place. And the second level is understanding, which is actually what you need to wither through uncertainty. What understanding is about comprehension, ability to decode those factors that you have seen, that information that you have, and ability to apply them to the circumstance at hand. So you actually have an understanding of what are the underlying factors, what are the backstage issues, what are the backside issues, what are the issues on the right, on the left. You have a rounded understanding of everything that is there. Understanding is like comprehension. And the highest is wisdom. When you pass from understanding to be able to apply your knowledge, the information, the comprehension, and solve particular problems and resolve particular situations. And the third one is C, which is complexity. Now, the answer to complexity is clarity, clarity of purpose. I spoke to one politician recently who is campaigning for an election, and I said he should give me the campaign document. And the first thing I told him is that these things are laudable, but they have no clarity. Why? When you are in a VUCA environment, it's important for you to clarify every factor, every definition, every step, document everything as it is. Yeah, because once you have clarity, you can demystify complexity, you can simplify complexity, you can mitigate the harmful effects of complex things. Once you have so much clarity about what you are doing, you can do a lot of damage control when you have clarity, because you know exactly when to pull the strings and when to release the string. And the last one will be the ambiguity. For ambiguity is talking about agility. Agility is about speech and movement. Agility is about movement. If you look our elementary basics, you're talking about mass times velocity is equal to momentum. Agility is what gives the organization a good momentum. It means that sometimes it's racing before even the problems will arrive. Like in my case, if I was agile enough, I would probably have bought some of those things long before the prices change within 1 week. That's actually what it is in a contemporary world. So there are two parts. The part is the problem, which is the problem you need, and the solution is the other part, which is normally called VUCA Prime. Thank you very much.
Very wonderful submission, dividing VUCA into the problem and the solution. And I want to believe that our viewers globally connected is having deeper understanding. The view for volatility is telling you that you must have vision, a picture of the future as a leader. That's the solution side of it as leadership. And the you having understanding, which our guest has been able to break into three: information gathering, understanding and comprehension, then the wisdom to solve the problem. Then we go to the C in terms of complexity, having clarity of purpose. You must be clear about those things that you want to say. And finally, the ambiguity, you can avert it if the agility is there and the speed is able to move on. Mr. Debi, in fact, you are taking us to the class, and I can feel the vibes as we proceed on this. But looking at it from the VUCA Pride, let me ask this question, which I know our TV viewers will be expecting. The various skill sets or strategy that one needs to adopt in a VUCA environment.
Now, thank you very much, my chairman. There are four VUCA environment, like I said, has peculiarities required in terms of skill sets, in terms of mindset, and in terms of strategy. Okay, now I'll start from the first one, the mindset. The mindset can either be one, it can either be that of fear, it can either be that of anxiety. And when you have a combination of fear and anxiety, you become paralyzed and you enter into analysis by paralysis. You really can't move on. The organization cannot move on, the government cannot move on. Okay, that is the mindset part of it. The mindset that is positive is the one that is based on one, awareness, that is based on deriving possibilities even from what is looks negative to you, and the fact that no matter what you have, you actually have a choice. So that's the mindset aspect. Now, the second is the skill sets. For the skill sets, you have four skill sets that you must be aware with. And the first one is actually, it goes through even both the skills, both the mindset and the skill set, and even the strategy. That's the awareness. You know, the leader in a VUCA environment must be fully self-aware. You know, that's a skill set that you must have. You must be well aware. You must have ability to get information from wherever and for whatever. You must actually be able to use information and be aware of even things that are not spoken in the organization. You must have, when you are self-aware as a leader, when you are well aware, what you find is that you become very predictive. You are able to predict circumstances, and circumstances will not be able to predict you. So you have a situational awareness, which is very key. And like when you are in a military, situational awareness is very key. The second one is mental agility. You must be able to think on your feet. Years ago, I flew with, that was very years ago, I flew a plane from Kano to Lagos, and the flight was turbulent. I now, but when everybody was panicky, There was a man sitting beside me who was not panicky. It's a high chief from Southeast. So when this plane stabilized, and I now took time to ask, sir, I didn't see you panicking when everyone was panicking. And he told me that he was the pilot to General Danjuma when he was chief of staff. And he told me something. He said, the only thing you need when you are in a turbulence is to have to mental agility. He said the training of pilots, the prime training is mental agility. Why? He said between you and the storm that you are going to meet, you have less than 2 minutes most times to decide what to do. And that's what you need. When you are in a VUCA environment, you need that mental agility to be able to do calculations without computer, to be able to recollect your memories without everything writing down. Now, the third one is what they call commander's instinct, which you must have as a skill set, as a person. Commander's instinct is the one that when everybody seems to be losing their head, you're able to keep yours. And that's in a very simple word, what they call poise. That is, no matter what it is, because once a leader loses balance, everything loses balance. So you need to have commander's calm, what they call commander's calm. I've actually been close to the cockpit before, using one connection or the other. And I know that no matter what it is, the pilots are not, they don't fret, they don't go frenzy. So you need that as a leader, because if you have that, every initiative everybody has will be dampened. And the one is what we call land instincts. When we are born, we have survival instincts. Most of us, we actually educate ourselves to demean our instincts. The instincts are actually natural phenomenon for us to survive. They're actually meant for us. For those who have instinct and intuition, the time to use them more is actually when you have such circumstances, when you have a turbulence in the environment. You would learn instinct that you have revised and that worked for you before. Those are the skill sets. Now, for strategy, you need to have a strategy that works. And the first thing about the only thing I would say about strategy is that the essence of strategy is knowing what not to do. Now, the first thing to find out when you're in a VUCA environment is that everything seems appealing to quench the fire. A leader must know what not to do. And when he already finds out what not to do, he will be able to now scale down and prioritize and take right actions that will be very, very effective. Those, I think, are the three classes of what you require to survive in a VUCA environment.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I guess you actually brought this down by talking about the three category, having a mindset where fear and anxiety, you need to just be able to tackle it and have the skill set, well aware, get information, use the information properly, and give a practical example of the mental agility, which is every leader is expected to possess, to be able to think within a jiffy and provide solution that might want to challenge one. And you end up talking about the commander instinct, learned instinct. What a very wonderful way to give us some of the skill set and the strategy. Let me pick on Paul's question. It's been on for a while. He is asking that based on your explanation of VUCA leadership, which of the VUCA can we say that our leaders in this country and the category of knowledgeable people around them represent?
Let's say it again, please.
I said, based on the explanation you gave on VUCA leadership, which of the VUCA can we say that our leaders in this country and the category of knowledgeable people around us that they represent?
Thank you
You
very
know, you
much.
gave us the, yeah.
Thank you very much. I actually had your question before. I just needed to ask you to get my thoughts together. Thank you very much for repeating the question. Now, the question for me is not even very clear. Is it talking about the problems of VUCA or the prime one?
I
So,
think it's coming from the perspective of the VUCA Prime.
okay, VUCA prime. Okay. Now, to say the least, if we talk about um, the VUCA prime, take vision. Nigeria has never been without a vision per se. I remember there was Vision 2020. When we had one vision or the other, we are good at documenting. We have MTF, STF, we have all sorts of things. So we really cannot be said not to really have a documented vision as it is. Now, when you talk about understanding, I think we have low understanding. Not, I don't think we have good understanding of the dynamics. Even when you we are a people who don't break things down, and that's not just from the president. From president to the smallest group leader, I think there's something about us that we don't actually have a grasp of understanding of the factors around things. But it's not enough to have information. It's not enough to actually have a comprehension of what that information represents in concept and what it represents to you in the particular situation. I think we are too hasty most times to copy the presidential system, option A4. Now, we seem to adapt those things without without necessarily understanding it in detail and being able to use it. I think for her, for my opinion, it is the understanding that we are very low on, and almost sure that whenever you are low in understanding, you will not have clarity. Even though we have a vision, I remember we had Vision 2020, which was unfortunately overtaken by COVID.
COVID.
But even without COVID, we still had problems. So I think we are low on understanding. I think because we are low on understanding, we are low in clarity. When you are low in clarity, not knowing exactly what it is, you would definitely be low in agility. Why? A guy who does not know road does not move fast.
Hmm.
Yeah. If you don't know the road you are going, and you have to be stopping at every point to ask whether I'm on the streets or check Google Map. So I think we have vision. I think we are a bit low on understanding. Consequently, our clarity about our goals is very low. And then, because we have no clarity, we have also low agility. We really can't move fast as we think.
Very deep understanding, giving clarity for us to move on a very fast agility. And I'm sure Paul has gotten the message that as a nation, our leaders, as we speak, we cannot claim that there is no vision. There is vision, but we're very low in understanding. Now, when you look at the three classes of understanding you actually gave, gathering information, we know data is the problem in this part of the client. And once you do that, you will be very low in clarity. And when there is no clarity on what to do or how to navigate through the area, the agility would definitely be zero. Sincerely speaking, you have been doing justice to this. And I know our guest has actually been having a feel of what it is when we talk about leading in a vocal environment. But let me quickly go on a very small commercial. When I come back, we will be doing more justice to our topic today with Mr. Adebiyi. Stay tuned. I will be right back.
As a finance professional in a disrupted business landscape, what does it take to be in demand? What does it take to attract great paying international roles? If you're an ICAN member, it'll just take one exam. That's all it takes to complete the globally recognized SEMA professional qualification and the internationally respected CGMA designation. As a SEMA member and a CGMA designation holder, employers will look at you as a finance professional, constantly acquiring new skills to add value to the business. That's why they'll be willing to pay premium to hire and retain you. If you have 5 years of relevant experience and are an ICAN member, you can directly sit for the final exam of the SEMA Professional Qualification, the Strategic Case Study exam. Start studying the SEMA Professional Qualification. Prepare to make an impact.
Save the date. Make it in October to remember as you register and plan to attend the 52nd ICAN Annual Accountants Conference. Date 10th to 14th October 2022. Venue ICC Abuja and Sheraton Abuja. For more inquiries, call 070-501-80222 or 090-625-47263. You can also visit the ICAN website www.icanig.org to register. Thank you.
Thank you very much and welcome back. We are here today, Tuesday, the 30th of August, the last episode for the month of August. And I've been guesting Mr. Adebiyi, who have been doing justice, Mr. Kaode Adebiyi, who have been doing justice to our topic today on leading in a VUCA environment. And I'm very sure that our members connected globally and those who are friends of chartered accountants have gathered a lot on some of the things that we need to do, most especially the VUCA Prime. I've been talking about VUCA, but today I'm talking from the perspective of the VUCA Prime, having a vision, having understanding, not just understanding of gathering information or having clarity, but having wisdom. And talked about once you have the understanding of the issues, you get clarity to it and the agility to fly will just be there. Welcome back, Mr. Adebiyi. Thank you very much for being part of the program today. Yeah, we'll proceed. And please, viewers, let's have more of your questions. I can tell you for free that our guest is an erudite who is fully prepared to do justice to this. Belonaira is asking this question before I go to mine. What has been the impact of VUCA in Nigeria and its prospects for the future?
Okay, thank you very much. The billionaire consultant. I'm sorry, I'm just.
It's allowed. It's allowed.
It's allowed. It's allowed. Yeah. I think VUCA is a subject that we are dealing with today. The Nigeria problem is beyond VUCA. I think we have real problems, and if we think that an understanding of VUCA will help us decode, diagnose Nigeria problem, we are not going to do that. The focus of this will actually work more in organizations that are in business, manufacturing business, some ministries especially. But when you go to government policies, the issues that we have, I remember there was an ICAN conference we had years past, and we brought in a president of Institute of Chartered of Ghana or something. He said something I've not forgotten to today. I don't know which year. He said politics is the principal thing. With all that get economy. Now, he explained to us in that conference that unless our political system is sanitized, economy policies will never fully deliver. So that for me, I think is not a subject we can discuss today. So for Nigeria, for VUCA Prime, what I think we can take is that what I see about Nigeria now is that there seems to be a growing sense of hopelessness, even in very high cycles, which is unfortunate. I think, having tried many things, people at the top seem to be paralyzed. We shouldn't get to that point where there is the fear, there is the resignation to what it is. We have a vision. We have very vibrant people. We have our people doing well all over the. So there's nothing wrong with the DNA of the Nigerian per se. But we need to deepen our understanding, especially our policies. Most policies that we craft, they don't have details. And not just at government levels, even at some business levels. We don't get into. We have this idea of we don't want to offend the big boss. Nobody wants to raise questions that are fundamental, and so we keep finding a lot of things under the ground. And when we do that, we have actually left some factors that are important for the implementation out. So when we run into the storm, we don't have any way and just communicate. So when we get our hearts together in terms of understanding concepts, for instance, we adopted a regional system. Did we fully understand complaints, how it works, what are the limitations, whether the culture of Nigeria fits that regional system? Okay, so why as Malaysia not? I was in Malaysia 2020, and they told us about the fact that they only adopted a system that they think can fit their people. Well, that's debatable. Yeah, that's what they said. They said they adopted what they adopted is something that will not give them 100%, but they think that it will give them 70%. Okay, and they want 20%. They think that they accept 55%. We aim at 100%, and it's optimally low what we eventually get because we don't quite have understanding of what we are copying. Most of the transport systems are copied from somewhere. Our hotel buildings are copied from somewhere. Our power source comes from somewhere. Once you have that level of, when you miss it at comprehension level, at understanding level, you definitely miss it at clarity. And you are going to have budget overruns. You are going to have things you didn't mistake, and you will not be able to move forward. And that seems to be what our problem is.
Very deep, very, very deep. Even though you said VUCA cannot be transferred to our governance, but you've been able to even broaden our horizon on that particular one. But basically, for organization, we've been able to have it. Let me state this so that I bring it up because I know we have majorly chartered accountant, professional accountant who are connected with us both locally and globally. Can you share with us, knowing fully well, as an accomplished accountant, a tax practitioner, a seasoned management accountant, how do you identify VUCA situation as a professional accountant?
How do you identify VUCA situation? Now, thank you very much. Now, the first thing I want to do when I see a situation is I first of all ask myself whether I have predictability. If I want to identify volatility, I ask myself, what is the level of my predictability? How can I predict anything? We live in this country where you could actually have a budget and have a price range for 1 year or two, where manufacturers could have an idea of what the government policies will be for 3 years, and they fairly try to make it up. But the first thing is to find if the situation is becoming so unpredictable, that you never know what it is, then that is a volatile environment where policies change everyhow. And how do you talk about identifying when even government rates of exchange change anyhow? When new policies change, sometimes we have had CBN giving us two policies in one month, reversing what they said in the first week and reversing it in the fourth week. Why? Because they don't want it. It's not as if it's their choice. They will have a volatile environment, and they are just reacting to situations and not proacting to situations. Now, the other one is uncertain. Now, when I find out that at very top levels, people seem not to be able to enter into long-term contracts. People adopt a short-termism approach. People are unsure, unsure-footedness, not cocksure about anything. Then that tells you what I will call that we have a certain environment. We have a certain environment. Complex is easier to decode when there are so many factors interacting, some balancing themselves, some outbalancing themselves, some counterbalancing themselves at the same time. And they are not hardly on the same table. And you can see this typically in Nigeria when there's a time we had almost 10 agencies who are collecting levies in Nigerian ports. Almost 10. You have, that time you have NAFDAC was at the airport, NDLA was at the airport, at the seaport. About 10 of them were at the seaport. So, and some of these things were just working against each themselves. So that's a complex environment when the factors cannot even be put together on one table and bundled in a very intelligent way. And okay, agility is easier to know when you are stagnated, when you are where you were last week, when you are where you had last year. Then you find out that you really have not moved. When a nation or a company discusses the same problems it's been discussing in 2020, in 2022, and 2030, then we know that that nation actually is in a VUCA, endemic VUCA environment. Thank you.
Very wonderful submission, Mr. Debeye. And after enlightening us as accountant, as we are coasting home on our program for today, let me ask this question. Are there training, VUCA training, available for professionals to access?
Sure, there are. Sure, there are VUCA trainings to access. But my advice generally is, to adapt trainings and leave our color, our ID card as accountants. Before we can make real progress in an economy, in the management, the first point of call is to hone our leadership skills and see ourselves at the top radar of the organization. Now, when we are there, we're actually at the top level strategy because really finance is just a business level strategy. So my suggestion for most people who want to get training is to get what I think we are lacking and which can help us, because as it is now, we are the most disciplined profession in Nigeria, if not in Africa. We are the most disciplined in Nigeria. We're the only. I was joking with a friend of mine that have attended ICAN conference for almost 20 years or more. And we've never thrown badges in the conference because of bags. There are times, yes, I told a friend that we've never had a time when, there are times when you find that a particular item was not available, but there was a way of addressing those things that names are taken down and people are promised and those promises are delivered. So really, I think this nation per se can be changed by ICAN and by ICAN members. Now we have what the nation does not have. We have some discipline. And so, but what we need is that we are trying to get a finance our finance strategy up when the overall top strategy is wobbled. That is nothing. So I think the first point of call for accountants is to broaden their knowledge and skills on strategy and leadership, assuming that they are leading the organization, and then they go further and cascade down to VUCA training on finance leadership. There are few organizations that do VUCA training. I know about a few of them, and I think they are accessible to those who may want to search for it online. Thank you.
Very wonderful submission, sir. And you brought up a topic that is germane. As accountant, because we pride ourselves with integrity and accuracy, we have the quality to lead the nation. So you have challenged us to leave the business level where we make use of our financial skills to make those leaders. So if the leadership wobbles, there is no idea on the business level to succeed. So it's a challenge. And I think with some of the things that the Institute is doing, encouraging the younger ones, we are getting involved more in politics. Mr. Debi, sincerely speaking, you've been doing justice to our topic today. And as I'm winding up, I just want to put this across to you that as an individual, you've been part of our conferences, and I'm sure one of the promo that we saw is talking about the 52nd Annual Accountant Conference. I just said it over 20 years you've been attending, and there are quality stuff that you get every year. I've had opportunity to see you travel outside the country to attend conferences. On the final note, can you give us your closing thought on this topic and also about our institute and to our members, things they need to do?
Thank you very much, my chairman. I'm so impressed with ICAN. I actually think ICAN is divinely set up. We've gone through some storms, but we've emerged strong. I'm particularly pleased at the last presidential year. We attained, if we lost anything in the previous years, we were able to bridge it. We did the work of almost 4 years in 1 year, and I give kudos to the past president. I also want to thank the present leadership. What they are doing very well. So I think for the nation has Nigeria has a hope in ICAN. My closing thoughts really is on something I documented here as what accountants need to do to heighten peak performance. There are 5 things or things that I documented. We accountants, we are made to think straight, think about figures, think in a ruler form. We also need to have some adaptive thinking, and that will come when we broaden our horizon, our knowledge base, beyond the finiteness of our profession to the global world, including politics, possibly law, possibly whatever things that we have an engagement in, adaptive thinking. The second thing is that the nation is stressed. And when nations are stressed, which is caused mostly by the people at the time of affairs, the stress of no money is for accountants, is for finance people. So finance people must learn more how to manage stress in this environment if they must survive. The third one we need to do is that we need to improve our attention control. We have the professionals that are giving the most innate tendency to pay attention. But the way the Nigerian industrial sector of manufacturing is going now requires us to have more attention to be able to prevent fraud, irregularities, and overspent budgets and co. And then we need to have, which not just accountants, we need to develop our visualization, our vision, both for the institute and for ourselves and for our organizations. And the fifth one is that the nation seems to be slipping over on every goal set. In fact, we don't even have goals again. I've never seen for years that the nation has a particular goal that by so time, this will happen or it happen. Now, if the nation goes that way, we are the salt of the nation, per se. We must also improve attainment of our goals. What is helping us is our structure in ICAN, which means you have a one presidential year. Within one year, you either do it or not do it. But that's an advantage for us. But if we do it so well, we will be able to influence other bodies so that people can have some more hope in Nigeria. So those are my key points at closing for peak performance skills that accountants need to have.
Very wonderful way to close the session today. And you have spoken about our thinking skill, adaptive thinking, managing stress, improving our attention, and also developing our vision. And as chartered accountant, that pride itself with integrity and accuracy, we should improve ourselves. Let me especially appreciate you, Mr. Kayode Debi, FCA, for making out time with us on ICAN on air today. It's been a very wonderful time, and I want to believe when next we call on you on another topic that is germane, you will definitely yield the floor to give us an insightful time. And to all our viewers, let me especially appreciate you and acknowledge the fact that you have been always there. That is why we come every Tuesday and every Thursday. And I want you to connect with us next week, Thursday. That is September 1st, the first day of a new month, where we'll be doing justice to another topic. And let me just, for the first time, give you an insight that the next topic we will be talking about auditing in a fintech environment. I reserve the guest for that day. Watch out on all our social media handle who the guest will be, but we'll be talking accounting, also talking fintech environment, just as we have done justice today. Let me once again remind you that the 52nd Annual Accountant Conference, as we have shared with us, will be coming up October 10 to 14 at the ICC and Sheraton Hotel in Abuja. We're talking on Nigeria adopting sustainability for economic prosperity. Also, let's block our calendar for the World Congress of Accountants coming up November 18th to 21st at the Jew World Convention Center in Mumbai. Also, let me remind you of the ICAN pathway. The Governing Council has approved the new pathway for members of approved IFAC recognized PAO to become ICAN member. You can get all this information on our website, and you can definitely contact the membership department for more information. On this note, we are winding up for today. I want you to stay tuned and get set for another educative time come Thursday, 1st of September, when I'll be bringing another guest to do justice to this. I remain your host, Olusegun Okwade, FCA. Bye for now.